be kind. It is the giving of the peace in your mind to a stranger, to a friend, to give in such a way that has no end. We are love here. We are one. We are how we treat each other when the day is done. Oh, we are peace. We are war. We are how we treat each other and nothing more. To be bold and to be brave. It is the thinking that the heart can still be saved, and the darkness can come quick. The dangers in the anger and in the hanging on to it. Yeah, we are love. Yeah, we are one. We are how we treat each other when the day is done. Oh, we are peace, I know, and we are war. We are how we treat each other and nothing more. And tell me what it is that you see. A world that's full of endless possibility. And heroes don't look like they used to. They look like you do. Yes, they do. Oh, yeah. We are love. We are one. We are how we treat each other when the day is done. We are peace. We are also war. I know we are how we treat each other and nothing more. We are how we treat each other and nothing more. We are how we treat each other.
Sung and written by Laura Berman, huh? That was gorgeous. You didn't write it? Okay. It was beautiful. Thank you. So we're moving forward with the concept of revolutionary love using this love compass tool. That's right. There's one on the screen for you. There's some on the back table if you want to take one. This is just some really practical tools for how to be the presence of love, which is not always easy, right? And so you can point this at any one direction, and sometimes you have to point it at many in any given day, to remember how to ground ourselves in love and these practices. And so last Sunday we started, we began it with loving ourselves, which is really important. It's a really crucial first step, and one that we're not all that well equipped to do. And we tend to look over it. So I started us there instead of with others, which for many of us is easier to do. So we're moving forward this week with how to love others. And then other I want to define, as Valarie Kaur does, is anyone or anything outside of our sense of self, right? So it can be nature, it can be animals, it can be other people. It is all the people outside of ourselves. And we certainly want to learn how to love those that we are in our circle better. But this is a practice of loving beyond our circle, right? Last Sunday we considered this concept of seeing no stranger. If we believe that we are all inherently connected, then people that we see but don't know intimately are really not strangers, right? They are part of us. Now, there is such a thing as stranger danger. Use your common sense here. Just, hi, want to go out to dinner? What's your name? No. But to open ourselves up to being curious about others. And that curiosity, that sense of wonder, also works for ourselves, right? When we come up against hard places in ourselves, can we just be curious? Can we hold it gently instead of we need to fix that or deny it or shove it down, right? So I find that these practices really help in all different directions, but particularly we are looking specifically at pointing that towards loving others today. Through the practices, we started with wonder, so just to wonder about people. How many of you did that last week as you saw strangers at the grocery store? You just said to yourself, hello, auntie, hello, uncle, hello, son, hello, daughter, right? To just begin to see people in a relational sense, to open up and be curious about them. Did anybody do that? Was it kind of interesting? Opens you up to see more people as belonging to you, to your circle. Should say that Valarie Kaur defines revolutionary love as a choice to enter into labor for our opponents, for ourselves, and for others in order to transform the world around us. And she believes, and I believe with her, that revolutionary love is the call of our time. To expand what it means to love and to expand who we are willing to love. It's like Love 2.0. Ooh, that makes me want to sing The Love Boat. Okay, I've just aged myself. The Love Boat. Did you watch that? Soon will. I Dream of Jeannie next week. Come back. Okay. Beverly Hills. Yeah, you're a little younger than me. That's fine. Yeah, so begins with wonder, and today we are moving into these concepts of grieving and fighting. And both of those, I bet, have a little bit of a response in each of you. One more than the other, right? So just breathe into that, and I'm going to talk us through that a little bit more. Grieving with others supports us in fighting with and for them when they are in harm's way. So we want to be mindful of the power of our thoughts and our actions. And when we are doing anything against something, when we're resisting something, we're really putting our energy toward the thing that we don't want. So we want to be fighting for or standing with, right? Love, with justice, with connectedness, rather than pushing against something. Did you learn that? There's a saying when I used to work for FedEx: push, don't pull. No, pull, don't. Yeah, okay, and I shouldn't. That's different. It's different when you're lifting heavy things. Push. You want to use your momentum towards. Yeah, okay, don't listen to me. And we find that when we're able to grieve with others, it really supports us in that process for ourselves. And there's just no denying that as a culture, we are not well supported in grieving. You get 3 days off work, get going, get back to normal. What's wrong with you, right? People avoid you because they don't know what to say. They don't know how to fix it. Grieving is a natural part of living and loving. And so it really behooves us to learn how to do it better, to get intimate with grief. And I've been sensing a palpable amount of grief. Is that right? Did I say that right? Palpable. Palatable. Thank you. There's always some educators in the room. Grief is on the rise, yes? I mean, people continue to lose people that they love. People continue to lose identities. Who am I? What role am I playing as life changes, as children grow up, as jobs end, as we age? There's natural opportunities for grief all the time. And if we can stick with it, it really does provide opportunities for deep transformation. We get to know the depth of love. Valarie reminds us that revolutionary love is not a quick fix. And being with people when they're in their grief, we're tempted to want to fix it. Want to fix it in ourselves, make it go quick. It's uncomfortable. But like all labors for justice, the practices of revolutionary love require commitment and investment in deep relationships. She says that while we seek to be responsive to the challenges facing our society at any moment, we also know that the work of revolutionary love spans generations. Our investment in revolutionary love is not only about us. It draws upon the wisdom of our ancestors, and it is directed towards our descendants. The work that we do in our own lives for ourselves and with each other impacts younger generations. We're seeing that, right? So I want to read this poem to you before we go any further. When she talks about how we can show up to grieve with others, certainly we do that with people that we know and love, or friends, and we show up to support them at memorial services and bring them meals and that sort of thing. But it's only the depth of our own comfortability and experience with loss itself that really provides us the space and the grace to do that well. And so she shared this poem in her work that I wanted to share with you. It's called Kindness. I'm not reading the whole thing, but most of it. It's by Naomi Shihab Nye. She says this: before you know what kindness really is, you must lose things. Feel the future dissolve in any moment, like salt in a weakened broth. What you held in your hand, what you counted and carefully saved, all this must go, so you know how desolate the landscape can be between the regions of kindness. Before you know kindness as the deepest thing inside, you must know sorrow as the other deepest thing. You must wake up with sorrow. You must speak to it till your voice catches the thread of all sorrows, and you will see the size of the cloth. Then it is only the kindness that makes sense anymore. Only kindness that ties your shoes and sends you out into the day to gaze at bread. Only kindness that raises its head from the crowd of the world to say, "It is I you have been looking for," and then goes with you everywhere like a shadow or a friend. So as we ourselves experience loss and pain and difficulty, and find respite and support in the kindness of other people, we are able to then shine that shadow of kindness forward. But it does require us to be comfortable, to be willing to show up, right? And so it requires us first and foremost, like any transition, any growth, to befriend what's going on inside of us. The ways in which we might be holding loss or pain. Valarie Kaur reminds us that love is more than just an emotion. Joy, it actually involves a lot of our emotions. She says that joy is the gift of love. Grief is the price of love. Anger protects that which is loved. And when we think we have reached our limit, wonder is the act that returns us to love. Right? When we open back up with wonder and curiosity towards ourselves and towards others. So grieving with others is an act of love. And as the poem indicated, in order to extend ourselves to others, we first have to be willing to sit with our own pain, our own grief, befriending ourselves in that. And if you feel discomfort around the concept of grief, that's okay. As I've said, we've not been well supported in it. So it's not a time to judge or to resist that, but to notice that. Valarie has this great reminder that when it comes to healing, discomfort is always the starting point for the process of transformation. And I've shared with you recently over the past several months that I've been facing that myself, and oh my gosh, sometimes I don't want to do it. I don't want to do that, face some of that hard stuff in me. But every time I stick with it, I am freed a little more and a little more. I am able to feel the depth of joy a little more and a little more. And I can show up for you in your joy and in your sorrow much more easily. Not all the time, but it gets easier. So I wanted to acknowledge that the sense of collective grief that I'm sensing, that I'm feeling myself, that I think has been really sort of trying to rise fully to the surface since COVID. And it continues. Things that are happening in our country and in our world are concerning. Ideals that we've held for a long time seem to be slipping away. We're seeing some realities that are really hard to see, that are scary and painful. And so I'm seeing this as a time of collective transformation, right? What is difficult provides an opportunity for transformation if we can stick with it, if we can look at it. The wisdom that has come down to us always is that grieving is done in community. There's been a movement for the past, 15, 20 years that people say, we're not going to do any memorial service, we're not going to. No, they're not here, they don't want that. It's not for them, it's for us. It's for us. We trust, celebration of life, for sure. We want to be grateful that we had that life. We were grateful for life itself. And it really sucks when we lose people we love and we're still here. How can we come together and just be vulnerable in that and help each other move through that process? So I'm inviting us today to take a moment to connect with what this conversation has brought up for you. You might be actively and willingly and knowingly in a process of grieving. You may be supporting someone who is. You may not be. And you are still needed, right? So we ebb and we flow. As you're grieving, I show up for you as I'm grieving. Hopefully you show up for me. So just want to take a moment to connect and to let there be some space here today to connect with how this idea of grief lands in you and where you are with it. I'm going to ring the singing bowl. I just invite you to take a deep breath. This is an invitation to drop from your head to your heart. And again, you can go as deep as you feel comfortable. Nothing you have to do here. So just invite you, if you're comfortable, to close your eyes or lower your gaze and take a deep breath. Just creating some space to be held together in this moment so that no one person has to hold it all alone. We give ourselves the grace of not having to hold it all together. So just noticing where you might feel a sense of grief in your body, in your stomach or in your throat or in your heart. It might come right up, it might not. That's okay, we're just getting curious. We're not trying to change it or force it, we're just observing it. And if it needs to move through tears or through deepened breath, let that happen. Just letting it come and letting it go. Is there a sense of loss that you are holding? Is there a way you can express that or connect with that here now? And connecting with the human experience that we all experience loss. And so we are not alone in that. I invite us to notice how just having some space to come together, to bring some comfort to ourselves and each other, some sense of solidarity in loss. If that feels supportive, let that in. And if you are really in the throes of grief and loss, this might be a time for you to think of who can you call upon? Who will come sit with you? Who will cry with you? Who will pray with you? How can you reach out? We don't even always have to be physically together. We can be present to someone on the phone. We can light candles together hundreds of miles away. So think of someone in your life who you can ask for support. And if you're not feeling particularly activated with a sense of grief, perhaps you're being called to be that person for someone. Is there someone in your life who you know could use a call or a visit? Again, not to fix anything, just to say you don't have to do this alone. And so that may be your assignment this week. Either you're reaching out to someone to say, I could use some support, or you're offering your support. Ultimately, just holding that we are in this together, we don't have to bear it alone. We recognize that grieving is an act of surrender. So we do have to be open. We have to open ourselves. Not knowing exactly how it will feel or how it will go or what we will need, but trusting that it is a process of healing and transforming. And trusting and accounting for the presence that we bring to others when we are with them, when we can be with them in their discomfort. It's a way we come to learn to know how to love them. So just invite you to be gentle with yourself and trust the voice of wisdom within you that tells you what you might be ready to do for yourself or what you might be called to do for another. Just take whatever information you've received with you as you consider what your next action of caring for grief in yourself or in another will be. And we can all always call upon the presence of Spirit as love itself that supports us. And as we do that for ourselves, we are better equipped to extend a sense of shelter and sanctuary to each other as an act of love and solidarity.
Oh, prepare me to be your sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I am a living sanctuary for you. Oh, prepare me to be your sanctuary, pure and holy. I am tried and true. With thanksgiving, I am a living sanctuary for you, and I am your sanctuary. No, I am yours, and I am your sanctuary. I am yours. So prepare me to be your sanctuary. I am pure and I am holy and I am tried and true. With thanksgiving, I am living sanctuary. I am yours. Oh, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy. I am tried, I am true. With thanksgiving, I am living sanctuary. Make me your sanctuary, Spirit. I am yours. I am yours. I am a sanctuary for love, for joy, for you. I am yours.
Reminds us that grieving together, bearing the unbearable, is an act of transformation. It helps to bring survivors into healing process. It creates new relationships, and it energizes the demand for justice. We come to know people when we grieve with them, through stories and through rituals. It is how we build real solidarity, the kind that shows us the world we want to live in, and our role in fighting for it. She goes on to say that shallow solidarity is rooted in the logic of exchange. You show up for me, I'll show up for you. But deep solidarity is rooted in love. I show up for you because I choose to love you. And if I choose to love you, I care about your pain. And this is how she goes on to define this idea of fight. To fight is to tap into your own sense of agency, to protect yourself and others, to fight impulse, the impulse. The fight impulse is ancient and fundamental. It is biological. Sometimes we fight to protect who and what we love. Other times we fight with those we love. There is an impulse to protect ourselves. The question is not whether or not we will fight in our lives, but how we choose to do it. We must summon the wisdom to discern between threats that are real rather than imagined, and respond in ways that give life rather than deal death. She's brilliantly wise. And she's stood as a woman of color in the threat that can bring, and still says love is it. That is what will transform our world. So I know some people are uncomfortable with the word fight. I have some ambivalence about it as well. She clarifies that again. We use this word to describe nonviolent action. Nonviolence is often seen as passive and soft. She uses warrior metaphors to fight with a sword and a shield. Warrior metaphors show nonviolent action that for what it is. It's fierce, it's strategic, it's demanding, and it's disciplined. And the fight is an ongoing labor of love. It's a way of living into your fullest power and your fullest potential. It's a way of living in such a way that no one can dominate you. No one can colonize your mind. No one can suppress your spirit. No one can silence you, because you have decided to look into the world with a warrior's heart and sage's eyes. And she reminds us that we all have different roles to play in this labor of love at any given moment. Revolutionary love is not the sacrifice of any individual, but the practice of community. No one should grieve alone, and no one goes off to battle on their own. So the invitation that continues to be offered here and seems to be appealing to more people is to create a space for authentic community, where we can talk about hard things, where we can feel our grief and be held, where we can say, who do we need to stand up for? Who have we not yet loved? Who do we need to be wondering about? And that takes bravery and commitment and practice. And so that is why I have brought this series to you. I hope that you find it useful and meaningful and an invitation to grow in your own capacity to love yourself and others. And we'll get to the hardest one next week, opponents. Yeah. So thank you for being here. Now is the time in our service where I mention that we operate off of your donations, solely off of your donations. So thank you for the ways that you give that allow us to do all that we do here at Unity Spiritual Center Denver, which is in service to that mission. So I invite you to say that with me if you're so inclined. We inspire authentic connection with the self and others for spiritual growth, healing, and loving service in the world. So thank you for all that you give that makes that possible. There are baskets in the back for cash and check. There are QR codes on those baskets. I think they're also in your bulletin if you want to give electronically. Thank you for your gifts. I'll ask Laura to give us another song. We're going to get some James Taylor. Is that right?
We are.
All right.
1, 2, 3, 4. How sweet it is.